Okay, so we're continuing where we left off with this blacktop 20 valve. I did my best to clean the engine and clean the transmission. And then we also cleaned the ITBs. But what's on this tray is the alternator. Let's finish putting this back together because we cleaned it all up. Me personally, whenever I take something apart, I like to put it back the same day. We sonic washed all this. This is just the raw aluminum finish. Like messed up that seal there, hammering out this bearing. Okay, pop the seal up. Got some grease in here. We're just gonna put a little more grease in there, re-grease things up here. I'm just gonna pop this seal back into place. There we go. This one did feel really dry. Pack it like so and just pop the cap back on. We're gonna drop that bearing here. And then we have this thing. This is gonna lock it in place. Just get some steel wool and clean this armature. Okay, so we're going to tap this in this way. This is where our pulley goes. We'll just set that there so we can let it hang out on the pulley. Get this part of the clamshell back on. Make sure these leads all stick up. Let's get this thing and then these are like isolators for these wires. Okay, we get our regulator on here. Press our brushes. And then our next thing is to fix this alternator bracket because it's cracked. We're waiting on some seals today. Hopefully they come. But let me show you what I've been doing. So I've been doing a lot of cleaning, especially with this transmission, which is still greasy. We painted the bracket, clutch fork, pulleys, etc. But before painting it, I actually sanded down and deburred the edges because they're kind of sharp on the corners. So I deburred all the corners on here and on the brackets and engine mount. We put the alternator back together, waiting on a front main seal and rear main seal for the transmission. We have to machine this to make this a little slimmer. I could take off a little off the front and the back just to make this fit. And I'm also going to tap another hole here for the heater hoses. Which leads me to this. I want a walnut blast the intake and exhaust ports. The intake is super rusty. The exhaust is just lots of carbon. Before we do that with this special adapter I printed, right? This special adapter I printed. And then I also printed this. This is just a prototype. I got a better version. I've been wanting to take off the oil pan so I can take off the rod bearings and main bearings and make sure they look good. But also, good thing I drained the oil because there was definitely some water in there. It was just kind of chunky coming out, kind of sludgy at the bottom of that pan. So we're going to pull that off. So before flipping this over and sealing the pan, it would only make sense to walnut blast the ports first, right? Right? Because it's a sealed engine. So let's do that instead. I got the engine out here. We have our dust collector so I can extract all of these walnut shells. And then that leads all the way to the shop back right there in Rio. I used to have the dust collector right there. But I figure we move it here a little closer. Also, fun fact, I don't know if this thing is just kind of locked down, but there's no tensioner here, and I realized that the other day. I mean, it's probably shimmed or another washer to lock that down. So we'll probably make something for this. Okay, obviously I wasn't recording. Number one, 101, 101, 102, 103. So cylinder one, clean, so-so, terrible. Cylinder two, terrible, terrible, terrible. Cylinder three, terrible, terrible, terrible. Number four, really bad. So on the exhaust side, lots of carbon, lots of carbon. Number two, open, just as bad. Number three, so-so. Number four, just your typical carbon here. So these are the walnuts, Harbor Freight, walnut shell, 25 pounds for 25 bucks. So let's open this up. And then we just scoop it in the hopper. Use this Tupperware and this funnel. It's actually full. Okay, let's close this. That top dead center. There's two timing marks here. Top dead. Intake is closed. And our number three is opening. Exhaust is closed. Okay, you guys are definitely not going to hear anything because it's really loud. But we're going to move on to the exhaust port now. Definitely forgot to record the intake side, but here we are. You got to turn this thing sideways carefully. All right. So we're just going to clean out the intake ports with brake cleaner. Turn this till the valves close. Just going to wipe the ports. This is really exciting here. Okay, we'll get the borescope. Okay, so number one. Pretty clean. Number two. Pretty clean. Number three. There's still some freaking chinguses on there. But better than before. And number four. There's all sorts of stuff there. And there's still some chinguses there, but you know what? I'm okay with that. There's a lot of pitting on this valve, and if I take this apart, it's going to be like a 2 year long rebuild. So yeah, we're good with that. Okay, I will say we are done with this job. When the valves are closed, I just got the Dremel and just kind of clean the carbon. Okay, I shouldn't have to. Yeah, that still looks gross. They look gross, but they're less gross. Used to be a lot more gross in there. So sure. Lots of things you didn't see. This is an extension from a telescoping magnet, and then I kind of drill out the end and then kind of friction fit in there. So I was jamming this in and cleaning it a little, a little more reach. So probably didn't record it, but I made these, 3D printed these. This is for the intake. This kind of just sits there, right? And this gives you the ability to clean and not get chips or walnut shells back firing at you. Then yeah, this was for the exhaust port, which fits really good, especially you can clean and rotate, right? Gives you the flexibility. As we're cleaning it up here, I'm just curious to see how much media we caught. I mean, I probably used a hopper and a half, so not too shabby. We're back in the garage. The plan is to take off this oil pan and take a look at the bottom and look at the main bearings and rod bearings. Hopefully everything looks okay. One of the things that's always hard to do is split the oil pan, right? I have this tool. This is oil pan tool. Never used it before. I bought it a long time ago. It's one of those things you see a cool video and you buy the tool. Just like that. And it's a wedge. So we're literally just going to tap this in place here. Got a little bigger hammer. There's actually a little windage tray and oil pan on here. So okay, so yeah, look at that. You just slide this over and you hammer it. That's the stud right there. This should come off. We forgot one. Whoops. So yeah, before you try to force this thing off, make sure all of the hardware is out. Look at that. Ooh. It's chunky at the bottom. Like jello. Man, good thing I pulled off this pan. I think I pulled this off because, man, look at that nasty oil pickup with this jello silicone-like consistency. So yeah, we're definitely cleaning that and cleaning that. We'll take out the pickup and then we'll flip this thing around. And 2 nuts for the flange. We also have this tray, which we're going to use the same tool. Has some nice knurling here and even 45-degree place to smack your hammer. Okay, so we snuck it in front here. Okay. Doing stuff like this is always kind of nerve-wracking. Should be easier now that I cut the stud so it doesn't hang up on the actual stand. Okay. Oh. That was scary. I hope nothing pours out of here. Oh look, this thing's still here. Okay. No, I'm starting to think that was original silicone. We can do spinny things now. Oil squirters? Oil squirter, oil squirter, oil squirters. Well, okay, so they're 12 points. We're just going to blast this off and drop it in there, yeah. Just drop it right in. Fun fact, stainless steel is not ferrous, non-magnetic. What does the survey say? Polished. Oh, yeah, we're probably going to change that. Yeah. Let's check the rest of them. We're dumping coolant out the back of the head onto the floor. Perfect. There's the coolant on the floor, and there is the bearing. I mean, it's not bad. We didn't 188. Okay. Yeah, that one is pretty worn also. Okay, I am almost certain I probably dropped it into this oil drain hole, into the abyss. Um, let's take a look at number 3. I'll take a picture, then I will drop the valve cover. Actually, let's just drop the valve cover. We got coolant spilling out the back. Whoa, look what we have here. Number 3, just as bad. Okay, so we can take out the rod bearings, or main bearings, outside, inside, right? Oh, we need a thin socket for that. Use these bolts and rock them back and forth. So we'll definitely swap that out. That's the back one. Yep, sure. You know, we should have checked the end play of the crank. Too late. Okay, yeah, we'll replace that. Usually I'll see these things wear out really fast if you have like a performance clutch. I mean, yeah, are we shopping rod bearings or are we sending it? We're shopping rod bearings, damn it. Then if we do that, are we shopping an oil pump? This is what I mean when I say everything escalates, right? I mean, rod bearings are worn, main bearings look okay. I'm already here, might as well change them because they're worn. But now, I mean, should I change the oil pump because I'm already here? Should I change the timing belt because I'm already here? I could just reuse these bearings. And yeah, no, I'll just say straight off the bat, parts for this engine cost more than the beams, I think. So it's very specific. This blacktop 20 valve is the only one that uses this tensioner. But I'm gonna get one from TiVo, and maybe I'll just plastic gauge these bearings and send it.